YouTube, we are back for another upload in relation to the Flash comics. I know it's been a while, and I want to try to wrap this book up because I want to start the next project. I know I said I was going to do the Brave and the Bold 28, and I am, but this book is really interesting, and it's really drawing me to maybe try to take this tape off, the Sensation Comics number 43. So I may work on them together. I may just do this quickly. It's in my mind. But what we're going to do is I am going to leaf cast this page, and I am going to do it without the suction. And I am going to use something a little different. As you can see, it's rope, nylon rope. And you might be saying, what are you going to be doing with this nylon rope, Jerry? Well, we're going to use my plastic, and we're going to also use nylon rope. So stay tuned. I'm going to set it up because I'm going to do it with voiceover and photos, something a little different. Let's see if I can do what I want to do, and let's see. Okay, guys, I took the wrap, I laid it on Hollytext on my grate, and I brought it up. I'm doing this work in my kitchen. It is Sunday. So what I do is I wet one side of the page with my sprayer. The reason why I wet one side of the page with my sprayer is because then what I can do is pull the page tight to get out all wrinkles. The dried side is easy to pull, and it is strong like bull, not weak when you wet the paper. So right there, we pull it, we make it nice and flat, because it's very important to be flat when you do leaf casting. The next step was I cut my string, and I painted the string on using methyl cellulose so I can make a nice bond with the string on the paper. The brush is nice and full with methyl cellulose, and the methyl cellulose will just bind in the paper, and it actually will benefit the pulp when it's applied, making it stick better. So what I did then was I made a perimeter or a mini dam with the rope around the graphics to prevent the leaf casting material from dipping into the colors of the page. Next, what I did was I actually secured more rope on the right side of the wrap with the same goal of creating a mini dam around the graphics. The rope works very well if the graphics are inconsistent, not in a grid-like shape as this advertisement with the magician and the magic show. Next, I applied the pulp around the rope, and the rope actually worked quite well, preventing the pulp from dipping into the graphics. After I was done installing the pulp, I actually took the rope and pulled it to the center of the page, pulling it away from the paper pulp. And what I did was I made a swirl in the middle so the actual rope would not interfere with the paper pulp that was applied to the wrap of not the Wiz comics, the Flash comics. So it did work out quite well, and as you can see, this is the wet paper pulp around the perimeter of the graphics. One thing that I did do was, after removing the rope, I did touch up certain areas using my plastic film to get a little closer to the straight lines of the graphics. And it's very important, I thought. Next time, I blotted now the actual page a few times. It was Sunday. I did this up in my kitchen. we were cooking as well, and here is some nice broccoli rabe because we were making broccoli rabe, chicken cutlets, and fresh tomato salad with mozzarella. So it was very nice Sunday. Also, I was drinking St. Pauli Girl, and that's a pretty good beer, a nice beer to transition into the spring. So here we go. We have some more blotting that I did because I wanted to try to draw out as much moisture as possible before we go down to the basement and to do the next step. Okay, guys, I hope you liked the voiceover I just did. And as you saw, I used rope, nylon rope, to act as a border in order to actually prevent the leaf casting pulp from going into the graphic. So I basically created a mini dam. So would I do it again? I don't know, maybe. And as you saw, I used methyl cellulose to weigh the actual, or to glue the rope down onto the paper. So what do we want to do now? I just want to show you briefly how I apply the plexiglass, because remember I had the debacle where it actually stuck and it didn't come out that well. As you saw in the pictures that I just showed in the voiceover, I blotted this cover. As you saw, I was also drinking St. Pauli Girl. I like that. It's Sunday afternoon. We're making chicken cutlets, broccoli rabe, fresh tomato salad, although it is in February, and mashed potatoes. That's a staple. We make that a lot in our house. It's really good. So what I did was I blotted the sheet or the wrap inside about 2 or 3 times with the paper towels. So now's the time that I want to remove the Hollytex. And this is the Hollytex right here. And you see how it does come up nicely if you take your time. The pulp is still wet, but it's not wet where it will move around once I put the plexiglass on. So we're gonna put the plexiglass on, and it is dry enough not to move around. And we're gonna see if this process worked. If it did work, great. If it didn't, as you know, it's conservation and we can always change it. So what I'm doing now is I'm rolling the plexiglass into the damp and still wet paper pulp. And this now will imprint the smoothness of the actual plexiglass onto the paper pulp that I just installed. Then what we're going to do is we're going to flip it around, and we are going to leave the Hollytex that's on the back, because we want to try to actually still absorb the moisture. And this is the key. So what I'll do is I'll put a piece of paper towel on the back, and then I will encase the paper towel with another piece of plexiglass. And then we will take a heavy piece of glass and I will put it on, and we're gonna let this actually sit, and I will change out the paper towels. So that's it, guys, for this upload. Let's see if the rope method works. One negative about that, I wish I had a way that I can make it more rigid, the rope, because it was a little snaky because it's a rolled up piece of nylon. So maybe if someone has a suggestion, but I like to try new things, and we'll see if it works out. I don't think we're gonna have a problem with doing it wrong where it's not gonna look well, but we'll see. So thank you for stopping by and stay tuned.